avoid at all costs having a closed mind. Like, just really try and like question all of your motives. Constantly question your motives, and I think that will keep your head clear as to what you want to say or what you want to achieve as far as your passion goes, whatever that passion is. Don't know where I'm going to take it, but it's a beginning, right?
Boom. Welcome to another episode of the Jeoffrey Sarpong podcast. Today I have with me Connor.
Hello.
Connor, do you want to introduce yourself? First, I usually get people to introduce themselves in like, who are you? What's your passions? And like basically give people an idea of why I'm talking to you today. So introduce yourself, your name. I'm which I've already done, but introduce yourself and what your passions are for me.
I will do, mate. Hello. My name is Connor. Yeah, I'll start there simply. I'm currently attending university. Mm-hmm. I'm doing marketing and advertising, which ironically, I don't actually give that much of a shit about it, but we've all got to do something for a career, right?
What do you give a shit about?
I really like music, and I really like skateboarding. I guess I'll say video games too. Yeah. You know, I mean, like, I don't tend to play it too much anymore, but I still do enjoy playing a video game from time to time.
Yeah.
It's probably my ideal of chilling. Yeah. You know, if I was going to chill around the house, probably play some video games and play some music and shit like that, you know?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, that's what, I'll
Thank
stop
you.
there for the introduction.
No, I mean, because we're going to get into it, because I know, like, yeah, you're right. You're a skater. We get to know him through today. Don't worry, we've got a long time to go. But yeah, so yeah, you're right. You're a skater. You're also a musician. I met you kind of like a year, 2 years ago. Yeah, and like I know ever since I met you, you spoke a lot about your skating. You spoke a lot about your music. I've heard both. I've heard your music, and
I'll quickly add as well, as I think you came, like, we sort of met each other at a time where I was like, the reason why I was speaking constantly about music and skateboarding at the time as well is because I had a lot of spare time, and I was really giving it a go at that point, at that stage in life when you had walked in. Even though I was speaking about music a lot, that was when I was like brand new, like really trying to actually explore it myself, because I did do an education on music, but that was music technology, and I did enjoy it, you know, getting into DAWs, digital audio workspace, or workstation, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, go on. Go on.
Yeah, I know the stuff. I know the stuff. Terminology. Yeah, where was I going?
So when I first met you, is when we were really getting into
Yeah. So I started teaching myself guitar probably around the time, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, and that's like when it was brand, like, and even still, you know, I'm still exploring. I'm still getting to terms of just how I feel I play the guitar, that kind of thing. I've been playing long enough now where I'm definitely more comfortable. I'm definitely at a stage where I can move around chords and stuff. But again, I've been teaching myself. I've been progressing. I've never put down the guitar.
Yeah.
Like I will play it daily.
Yeah.
But I think I could, you know. Yeah. Of course, yeah. I'm just sort of evaluating. Because also anyone else who's beginning guitar as well.
Yes, and I think
you want to make sure you're doing something new.
Exactly.
And that's where I've kind of falling back.
Exactly.
I keep doing the same, which isn't bad, because I'm not losing progress.
Yeah.
But I'm not gaining progress.
Okay.
You see, I'm just staying.
Look, and like, okay, I'll say from my perspective, why I wanted to have you on, right? Like my whole reason for my podcast is to interview people who are on the up, aspiring passion, aspiring. It doesn't. I don't even want to interview people who are already there. Because I want people to understand the journey. Because like we're gonna talk about, you know, your
What's your idea of what there is?
I mean, like I think obviously it's different for every person, right? Yeah. And I think some people will say they're there, but I think everyone I know, because everyone I've had on this podcast is basically my friends, and all my friends are on the trajectory of going there. They understand their passions, they know what they want to do in life, and they're just working hard to get there. Everyone's doing it differently. Everyone's working. Everyone's like doing, but no one's just like all I'm doing is my passion. So I want to talk to people about their passions, so people can understand that everyone has passions, everyone's interested in something, you know, and like like we're all trying to get there, and that like people trying to get there, I think that's the coolest thing. People, when you're there, it's like whatever, man, you get there, like. when you're trying to get there,
hearing the journey,
on the journey, you know, that's when people can really relate to you. And that's why I wanted to like interview people like that, and that's why I wanted to interview you today. So actually, going off that, let's get started with the first question. The first question I want to ask you will start from the beginning. So you told me that when I first met you is when like you really started like taking it seriously. But like the question I had for you is like, for example, let's start with skating, right? When did you start like really like enjoying skating? Like, do you remember when you first started to like really like get into it and really start to like fall in love with it?
I would say actually not in the first year of skateboarding, because the first year was sort of, I was 14 at the time, and my mate just happened to have one for whatever reason. He just randomly got one, and we just looked up how to ollie, and for about a week me and him were just banging it out, taking turns on his skateboard, just trying to ollie. Didn't get it in within that week, and then it started to die out pretty fucking fast. Pretty fast. So I don't know if I can swear.
Oh, you can swear.
Apologies.
Swear,
okay, all right. Okay.
You swore already, bro.
I've already sworn. It's too late now. It's too late. It's not PG anymore, bro. It's officially a 12.
It's not for kids.
Yeah. I would say when I did really start to have an itch to do it daily, that was when I just started skating with a group. Like, it kind of just happened. Like, the friend who I said randomly bought a skateboard when we were 14. We grew up, you know, got to about 16, and then all of a sudden one of his old friends wanted to just go out for a skate. And when we joined him, he had brought his mates as well, so there was more people than I thought there'd be, and we were all skateboarding, and just from there it just became a thing straight away. We got on with the group of mates, and now we've become a skate group.
Okay, talk to me. Okay, let's just going off that then. Talk to me about the community aspect of skating. Like, you're saying, like, when you first really started getting into it is when you started hanging out with a group of people who really enjoy skating. Yeah. Is that a big part of skating?
I think anyone who sticks to skateboarding for a long time probably has a group. It's probably rare that they've stuck to it, and the entire time they're skating on their own most of the time when they go out skating. You'd have to, I would say they actively had to choose to avoid finding a group in order to do that. So I don't think there's many people out there who skate on a daily basis by themselves. I could be wrong about that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
it's more enjoyable when you're with people.
Yeah. And again, like, my experience is probably quite different to a lot. Like, I've noticed ever since I started going to skate parks that there are a lot of people who just live around the area and they don't approach skateboarding with any mates. They just go to the skate park, and then all of a sudden they're a part of that particular skate park's community. And it depends on whether or not you're local to a skate park in the first place. But I think that's the heart of every skate park. They've all got their different communities. Yeah. I mean, again, this is kind of assumption, but like, for example, for me, I would describe, even though I don't live that close to it, I would describe Kingston to be the closest skate park to me. But I mean, I'd say there's definitely a community. Of course there is, for that particular skate park. But I feel like I'm also being too specific here as well, because if we're talking about the community as a whole in skateboarding, like the whole thing, yeah, there's, of course, definitely a community, you know? I mean, it's the same with football, it's the same with everything, you know? It's just different, because I guess there isn't, you know, it's not a team-based sport. I find most people who skateboard for a long time probably don't watch competitive skateboarding. They probably just watch skate videos, which it's more entertaining to me. I actually don't really like watching contest skating. It's not that interesting to me.
That's not what it's for, right?
Yeah, I just like, I suppose, the artistry behind the skate videos, because it's a lot of different things, you know. There's graphic design in it, there's like just little skits and stuff. It's basically like a good skate video to me. You know, I you know, even though probably some people who don't skate would find it pretty cringy, you know, the typical, like, you know, punk rock playing over like some slow-mo trick and shit. I love that shit. I love it when it's like cringy 90s, like like, for example, there's a skate video that I really like. It's one of my favorite ones. By a brand called Blueprint skateboards. I don't think they're a thing anymore. I think it's discontinued. brand from the early 2000s. But they've got a skate video where at the start it's got like a whole introduction of different shots, like nice artistry, black and white, showing like London, central London, and there's some fonts that's like like at the start it's like, be a pedestrian or be a skateboarder, you know, like that kind of stuff. Like I just like it, I love it, I love like how deep it gets into its own thing. Like yeah, sure, skateboarding might, I don't know, I guess some people would describe some skaters to be up their own arse about skateboarding, but I don't know, I mean, anyone would be up their own arse if they really like something, you know, like
absolutely.
I didn't really know where I'm going with it, but
I've got a question on that. Like, you mentioned a lot about like the things you enjoy about skating, but I wanted to ask a more direct question. Like, what do you enjoy most about skating? And, you know, I know you've been skating for a while now. Is it, you mentioned the skate videos, but is it like the actually skating, the part where you try so hard to get a trick and then you finally get it? Or is it like, what about skating, to someone who's never skated before, do you enjoy the most?
Sticks to me. The aspect I enjoy the most, would probably be just actually doing what I want to do, you know, skateboarding. It's really fun. I wouldn't describe learning the process of learning a trick, though, as fun. It's kind of more just really frustrating, and you fucking hate yourself. Like, you fucking hate, like, especially if you, like, should be landing it. Especially when you've got to a stage where everything's going right, and you're just too much of a pussy to just do it. To just, like, there's nothing else at that point, other than you just simply just have to put your fucking feet on the board. There's nothing else. You know, that's probably, I assume, most people would relate to that who skateboard, is fucking hell, like, all I have to do is jump on the fucking skateboard, and my brain is just not letting me do it because I'm too much of a fucking pussy. But that's probably what also attracts people, because it's just that you have to literally overcome your natural instinct to kick, like, to just brace for impact, you know, like throwing yourself downstairs on a plank of wood to most people would probably be like, that's just a stupid idea. It's just like, naturally, your natural instinct would be to brace for impact and stop yourself from getting hurt. But actually with a skateboard, if I'm to ollie down it, you're forcing yourself not to brace for impact, but to stay in the formation of the trick, you know, and that's probably the hard part that you've got to break, because naturally you want to, you know, you want to stop yourself from getting hurt.
I've got a question on that. So, like, you just mentioned that, what do you learn about people's mentality and, like, the mental that human beings have from doing skate tricks? You know, when you start talking about how you can convince yourself not to brace for impact, how you can force yourself to understand that you're not going to get hurt, like, what does that teach you about, like, how people's mental is and how we can overcome it?
Well, well, first of all, I definitely say, like, I'd learn things from skateboarding, like, as far as intuition goes, and there's a good word for thinking about what is the word that I'm thinking of, where it's you thinking, it's like self-reflection on your own thoughts. There's a word for it, I forgot what it's called. That's into something. Like, I definitely think that skateboarding can teach you, and you can apply it, like, what you learn from skateboarding is something you can apply to literally everything in life. Like, you can literally apply what you learn from it.
Not giving up.
So again, with a lot of other sports, a lot of other sports would have the same thing. But I guess the difference with skateboarding is, like, in my opinion, I don't really like to describe it as a sport, because it's literally just you wanting to get, but, like, there is no competition other than yourself. You're the competition to yourself. How good can you get at skateboarding? That's really the question when you start to skateboard, is like, what will be my peak, you know? Like, that's kind of one thing that I'm wondering now that I'm 21 years old now. I'm wondering, between now and the time I'm 30, I'm sure the peak will be somewhere between there.
Absolutely.
And I don't know, it's exciting, but also scary to see how good can I get before, you know, physically I can't really do it as much anymore, because eventually, you know, skateboarding isn't going to be a career to me. It's never going to be. I just really enjoy it, and I like to do it while I can do it. But I don't intend on skateboarding to be something I'm doing all the way until my 60s. I mean, if I had the time to do it, cool, I'll give it a go. But I'm not a pro. I'm never going to be a pro, and How?
Don't know, bro. You might be
well done for the pros, but nah, man, I ain't throwing myself down 20 flights of stairs for a video. I mean,
throw yourself down one.
Yeah, I'll throw my, like for self-achievement, I'll find a stair set that I will have to do before I stop. And if I was to think of the top of my head, it would be South Bank 7. But I think everybody has fucking done that. Like, so many people have done it. It's kind of embarrassing that I haven't even done it yet. Well, because I should, at the level I am now, easily I should be able to do it.
You just said about not comparing yourself to people.
Yeah, I know I said that, but shut up, man. Shut up, man. Don't say that. Shut up. I'm allowed to compare myself, okay?
Fair enough.
But, yeah, fuck, what the fuck was
But
that?
no, you're saying that's what you're trying to reach.
Like, yeah.
Do
like
that because you think you can do that.
And that's also another thing about how I said it, what's frustrating, right? Because I definitely think I can do it. I can go down like the South Bank 7, for example, as I said. Mm-hmm. The only thing stopping me is my fear.
It's mental.
It's just me. It's just a mental thing that's stopping me from simply just ollieing that stair set. There's nothing else. I know how to ollie. I've ollied stair sets before, but I've never done that stair set.
How would you... So obviously, like when you first started, I'm guessing because I've tried skating before, and I am terrified of that shit. That shit is crazy. Like even like standing on the board, knowing you're gonna go down, and your mind is thinking about all the times you've fallen before, and you're trying to convince yourself you're not gonna fall, and the only way not to fall is to do it right.
To approach it with just pure confidence.
Pure confidence, and like
as you're going towards it, you've got to literally hype yourself up.
Exactly.
Like the whole time you're in your head. You're like,
I'm going to.
But then again, I say that.
Yeah.
But I find that if I was to try and memorize exactly that moment when I'd successfully do something and do it well, that's when like I find there is no thought. You've literally tuned everything else out, and you're just skateboarding.
Okay, so here's a question.
I don't even think there are thoughts in your
Here's a question then. Here's a question. So you're saying before what the things that skateboarding has taught you, right? Talk to me about what you just said about how like in order to overcome the fear, you kind of have to get rid of the thought about the thing.
Just in like such a state of focus, like pure focus on what you're doing in that moment, that you're not even thinking, because you're just acting what you want to achieve on the skateboard. I mean, again, I'm not on my skateboard right now, so I couldn't really try to revise that.
Yeah.
So this is kind of me just going off of memory.
What you're saying.
But yeah, like I feel like, and if I was to compare it to music as well, like when I've learnt a song, sometimes when I'll play the song, I'll mess up a bit here and there. Mm-hmm. But the time when I execute a song perfectly without making a mistake is actually when I'm not thinking. I'm just doing. Like it's just coming out of me. It's literally I'm just playing. I've got a flow for it. I've got a feel for it, and there is no thought anymore. It's just I'm just doing. You know.
Okay, here's a question.
So it's just a state of focus. I guess.
You brought in music already. I was gonna like ease into that, but you've kind of brought it in. So let's go with it. And no, I'm just joking. I can't completely agree. I think so. Talk to me about music too. Like, do you have a dual passion? Obviously, you got passion for skating, but talk to me about your other passion for music. And when did that start? Like, do you remember when you first started like picking up the instrument and learning how to play, and how frustrating or rewarding that was for you?
So. Oh shit! Sorry, I just turned that down.
It's nice, good, you're good, you're good.
Okay. So I remember when I first like got introduced to music, and like actually really thinking about how much I like it, was in secondary school.
Oh shit.
I was into acting as a kid.
Yeah.
I liked performing arts, that kind of thing.
I love drama.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I did want to do that, but I can't remember why. But eventually I just ended up choosing music instead of drama for GCSE. Mm-hmm. I guess maybe coming off just a guess. Maybe at the time I thought, maybe drama's just... And I knew it was the only people choosing it were people who just didn't give a shit. So that was part of the reason why I was iffy about it. But I assume maybe one of the reasons why I chose music was because I thought it would be closely related to performing arts, which in a way it is. Yeah. But I don't know, I just ended up choosing that. Not that prior to that, I had like a crazy drive to be like, I didn't even know how to play an instrument. And I was choosing music for a GCSE.
So did you learn when
didn't even know, yeah. I started getting piano lessons, and I was playing the piano.
Yeah.
And I did really enjoy playing the piano, but I mean, I was a kid, you know, I was a child. I liked having fun. I liked playing video games, and that got in the way of doing any homework for not even just for the GCSE, but also learning it as an instrument. I had a tutor, and even though it was great to play, I did enjoy it. I just never did any of the homework for the tutor. So eventually, it just kind of fizzled out of my life. Like, piano just disappeared. But what I will say, even though I'm only just answering the question now, I remember as for the GCSE of music, I had to make a piece of music. I had to create something. I'd never done that before on an instrument. I've never created any. I never even really thought about doing it.
But anyway, where were we? We're talking about your music influences when you first started getting into music. And you're talking about GCSE, you know, how even though you weren't really, you know, focused on it because of, you know, you were a kid and you want to just enjoy your life, you didn't like the homework aspect of it. That when you actually got onto music, like when you started, like, realize
creating, right? Like, so for my GCSE, I had to create a piece of music for the instrument that I chose, which obviously was piano. Apologies.
You're alright, bro. You're alright.
Yeah. And I just remember being in the studio rooms and we'd just be sat there on our own, and sometimes for an entire lesson, literally just creating shit. And even if it was, I don't think I have any of them recorded. I can't really remember what they were. But I do remember a deep satisfaction whenever I was like, even if it was shit and I'd look back on it now and be like, just not that great. I just remember whatever it was I was making at the time, it really felt like I was conveying emotion without even realizing I felt that way. You know, like literally, I don't know. I can't honestly, it's hard to describe. Like, I just remember being in the studio and having my first taste of creating something on an instrument, and it was just really, it really stuck with me, and it did kind of change, because again, like, you know, as a kid, you know, you're always chopping and changing what you want to do, but as far as I was thinking, I really liked performing arts. My perception on life at the time was I want to be an actor. I'd love to do that kind of thing. But yeah, those moments I had in the studio where I was being able to just create, and there was no one in there with me, so it was really like I felt in a safe environment. I felt I could just there's no pressure. I can just play around with the piano until I started playing something that stuck to me, and then I can go from there. It just kind of naturally kind of came, you know, like, even though I didn't know how to play the piano brilliantly, I could play it okay, you know. I was really intensely doing tuition outside of school as well as at school, playing the piano. But again, as I said, I was a kid at the time. I wasn't playing piano in my spare time often, which is a mistake that I'm realizing now, because now that I've been teaching myself guitar, I really see the importance of being on it every day. Like, it's so important. And it's, I don't know, I guess, so now skipping forward a little bit, because that was sort of like where I was with when I started to enjoy music. But then I did performing arts for a year at college once I finished secondary school. And it was okay, but it just was not what I was expecting. Like, doing it, even at college, like, I thought I'd be surrounded by people who really wanted to be an actor. I thought I wanted to be an actor, but actually, as I was doing, I was kind of like, and I kept getting thoughts back to music. I kept thinking about secondary school at this time, because I kept thinking about, like, I do really remember, like, even though I didn't get like an A star or whatever on music, I did do okay at it. In fact, actually, it was my highest grade. I mean, I didn't do that well at GCSEs, I'll be honest. I barely got enough to get into my course. It was just not that great. But music, funny enough, was the best grade I got. I'm not going to disclose my grades, but it was the best one I got. And yeah, I don't know, it just stuck to me. It just, you know, even though I was very self-conscious about my piano playing, because even though it was a very small class, very few people chose to do music, but the people who did were fucking good at it. Like, they were good. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, like, all you people, if any of them ever would come across this video, you lot were fucking sick at the time, I'll be honest. Like, coming from a guy who was beginning to play piano, which was weird as well. Like, even the teachers thought it was a bit odd that someone's choosing to do music GCSE when they literally don't know how to play an instrument.
But look at you now.
But I started learning, and it was I did enjoy it.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
when you finished. You finished?
Well, I mean, I was going to just rant on.
Okay, cool. Actually, I want you to keep ranting on, but I want to ask a question from that. Talk to me about, like, what do you think is and now you've had a few years in music, right? What do you think is the thing that people really enjoy about it? Like you mentioned that the thing that you found about creating and being alone in yourself. Speak just for yourself. Yeah. What is that thing? Because as a creative myself, I kind of understand that too. Where it's like when it comes to, for example, me for writing, right? I could be by myself, just alone with nobody there, just working on a piece, and then like it's just my thoughts going within myself. I'm expressing something, and then to finish that, like, oh, that's how I tried to express it, and like that's insane. But it must be obviously an element of like music, where it's not just the words, but it's also the actual music of it, the song aspect of it, not just songwriting, but the instrument of it. That obviously adds another layer. So talk to me about how that works and how that manifests for you.
That's hard.
Shit.
Shit.
Questions only, bro. Take your time and think about it.
Well, with what people like about music, that is subjective for everyone. Like that's person to person type thing. That's not a black and white answer. Mm-hmm. What I would answer would be different, probably, to a lot of other people.
Alright, give me your answer.
But for me, like, well, one thing that got me back into music, for example, was I just kept listening to music. You know, like even though I started doing performing arts, and from my perception at the time, this is what I'm approaching. You know, like music, I gave a go, but now it's performing arts time. It's time to try and get into acting, kind of thing. I was just listening to a lot of music, a lot of different music. I was just exploring. Like, I liked to not just stick to one genre. I tried very hard for many factors. Like, my dad introduced me to a lot of reggae and a lot of like old British bands like Joy Division, mm-hmm. that kind of thing, Smiths, whatever, and also reggae as well from my dad's, friends and stuff. Alton Ellis. I mean, Bob Marley as well, yeah. Banger. But Alton Ellis. Yeah. Yellow Man. Some Yellow Man, of course, yeah. King of Dancehall.
You introduced me to Yellow Man.
Yeah. I saw him live. Yeah. I saw him live. Yeah, in the Jazz Cafe. But who else for reggae? Some dub artists, like, so I have also my mate Tom. Mm-hmm. He's definitely been a big influence for my music, because a lot of the stuff, because he kind of introduced me to the idea of just searching for music. Shout out Tom. Come on, pick up Tom. He was looking at music before I even thought about going on Spotify and just diving into the realm of just listening to whatever. He was just happened to just show me different artists. So it kind of just encouraged me to just go, oh, okay, like to think about music in a broader perspective, to approach songs with an open mind. Mm-hmm. Like, even if I didn't particularly like a song, I'd actually sit down and I'd try and evaluate, why don't I like the song, like that's one of the things that I started getting into, and all of a sudden I started to really get interested in music. Like, just why does it provoke certain like for songs that I do like, I literally will get goosebumps. I will have a sensation of a feeling, an emotion, whatever they were trying to compel. All of a sudden I was feeling that too, and for me, that's what, I'm sure everybody has something, like people watch films, people who are really into film, it must be conveying an emotion for them. Whoa. For me, the thing that speaks to me the most is music, like on a creative way of delivering your expression, I find music to be the one that I understand the most.
I've got a question, right? And based on that, then just really
I kind of forgot.
No,
question.
No, you answer the question. You're right, because I asked you just to go off like what you think people love about music, and you just in the end of it you expressed that there's the expression of something.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the expressive the thing about you like most.
If you really like a song, if you really really like it, I suggest don't play it all the time. That's a mistake I make a lot. I have to listen to it. I have an urge to listen to it because I loved it. The first, yeah, I know, but you can wash it out. I think psychologically you can just wash it, and that's the problem I think with a lot of like pop songs that are genuinely good.
Yes.
Because they will just get marketed and milked until they're destroyed in a matter of a week. Yeah, like it's sad because like then that just there's no legacy or longevity to that song now. You know, it's just been washed out, thrown away quickly, even if it's really good, even if it's like good on a musical dance level, but also on a philosophical or spiritual or whatever it has to say kind of level, you know?
Okay. So speaking to me about like just going off the fact that you're talking about you like to just sit there and really listen to music and get entrenched in the ideas of the music.
I look for intelligent writing.
Okay, then. Okay, let's build off that.
Intelligent song where it's like, shit, that's left me asking the right questions.
Who are some of the artists? Give me 3 artists that you've, over the course of your kind of like life, have led you to be influenced by them that you think have intelligent lyrics, have intelligent music, get you thinking, but also influenced you in the way you've kind of approached to your kind of music sense too. So give me 3 artists. Doesn't have to be in order, just 3 people that you think that people should check out, but also for you that have kind of influenced you in your music career.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start with Minutemen. Because I've just fucking loved Minutemen. I just really like Minutemen.
What is it about Minutemen?
I like their sound. So the Minutemen are a punk rock band, right? I'm gonna sound like a poser now because I can't name the exact year that they were about or formed. Deep, but basically, they're around the same time as Black Flag, for example.
Yes.
Fugazi.
Are they from the UK?
No. This is America. This is a very, very American music. Like if you know, as someone from the UK, if I was to show anyone like a Minutemen song, they'd go, "That's very American."
Yeah.
But one thing I have to say about them is because, as I said, they're punk, right? They were a part of that movement at the time, which was, you know, people felt very passionate about politics at the time.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a whole factor to it. You know, I'm not going to go too much into that, but yeah, as I said, punk kind of, you know, a misconception of punk is like people think of it as a sound, right? A genre of music. But I think what Minutemen liked to do was to kind of show that punk, it has nothing to do with the sound. Sure, you can listen to music that sounds punk, right? But actually, no, that's not at all what should be taken from it. Punk is a mindset, punk is a lifestyle, punk is a ideology, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but I guess.
Yeah.
Ideology, I'll go with that. But they were so, like, they were punk, right? Like, everything they were saying was what punks would say, right?
Yeah.
But they don't sound punk. They don't sound like that garage, like, well, they have aggression, you know, depending on the song that you're thinking of.
Yeah.
But one of my favourite songs by them, if you want to listen to them, There Ain't Shit on TV. That song, fucking genius, man. Like, it's just... they're talking a bit like a Luddite, is that the word? Like they're talking about, they're quite anti-marketing, quite anti. I'm saying that, and I'm doing a marketing and advertising degree. I just want to shine a light on that. I'm doing balance, bro. But yeah, it doesn't matter, you know. Yeah, exactly. You know, yeah. But yeah, like that song to me, what I think it's about, because again, like you have to decode these songs.
Go on.
You actually have to think about the songs and what they're saying, because they speak in hooks, right? And it's fucking great. I would describe it as slam poetry, but I've never actually taken the time to listen to slam poetry, like, outside of music. So that's an assumption there. I don't know if it actually is slam poetry.
They're not going to come for you, right?
But it sounds like it. yeah, but you know, you never know. They might come out that screen, man. They might come out that fucking screen. But yeah.
But this is, what about their music really speaks to you in terms of the message they're trying to convey to you? Why is it about it that speaks to you personally?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that everything they're saying I'm particularly relating to. It's kind of just more, I'm in awe of how well they've written their songs, you know, like the sound that comes with what they're saying. It just all works so perfectly to me, and I it's hard to describe, you know, but man, I wish I could put it into words, man. I love the Minutemen. There's, even though I don't have many of his songs, but he's definitely a very intelligent writer, is Don McLean, because I mean many people know this song, Vincent. He's the same guy who made American Pie. That's a massive song, most people know that. But Vincent, like, that's about Vincent van Gogh, and just the way, you just have to listen to that. You know what, I'm not even going to talk too much about that, because if you want to listen to that, fucking listen to the song, listen to every word of the lyrics, and then I don't even have to explain, because you'll know. You just know.
What's the song called again?
Beautiful. It's called Vincent by Don McLean. Yeah. It's a beautiful song. That's a good example of really portraying like a sad story as far as music and poetry goes, because it is a poem, you know, like, but it's done so well. Like, it's anyway. Enough about that. Another example.
Who's number 3?
Fela Kuti. Yeah, Fela Kuti. Just, bro, honestly, like, like just even at the times, because a lot of his songs are quite instrumental, right? There's plenty of time where there's no lyrics at all, but you still know, well, like, even just reading the title, he wouldn't have to say a word, and I could just listen to the music and read the title and be like, I feel exactly what he said. Like, that's genius. I don't know how he does it, don't know what it is he's doing, but holy shit, man. Like, just, I mean, Water No Get Enemy is a good example. I mean, there is plenty of lyrics in that, but I can't describe it. It's just, it really paints a picture in your head, you know? There's like, it's the same with Don McLean, same with Minutemen. When I listen to them and I really deep their writing, like, it's fucking, your brain is just going to start painting. It's just literally going to start just showing scenarios in your head. Like, you know, when you're a kid and you finish a film and all of a sudden that film is now your personality. Yes. And you're like, oh man, I watched Spider-Man. I can imagine myself as Spider-Man, you know? You're just walking out the cinema doors fucking pretending you're Spider-Man or some shit. A bit, I mean, I'm probably going a bit off topic there, but a little bit like that. A little bit like, just, like, that's one thing I really like about music. There we go. I've now found out another thing. Is it feels like it really triggers my imagination. It really, like, it has that taste of being a kid again. Music because my imagination's back all of a sudden. Most days it's not there. All of a sudden, I'm listening to a song and I could be perfectly sober and it's like I'm having a fucking acid trip if I really tried hard enough. If I really, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's times when I could spend a day listening to music, but I'm not quite there. You know, it's like a mindset that sometimes it just gets captured, where you listen to a song and you're in the right mood for that right song. You've just accidentally put it on at the right time, at the right place or whatever, and you're really feeling emotional about the song for whatever reason. You just put it on at the right time. Whatever.
That's amazing, and just a great segue for what I wanted to talk to you next about. Like, you talk about emotion and you talk about how they make you feel. I've always had a conception that music has a lot to do with love, has a lot to do with our feelings, has a lot to do with how we kind of take our emotions and express it. Because I feel like, especially for me, right, like, I'm a big music, I'm a big music lover too, and that's because of just how I've grown up. I've grown up like understanding that some songs, when you hear it, they kind of convey such a moment in time for you that you can, it doesn't even have to be a song that you understand. It just expresses it for you so well that you don't need anything else. It does it for you. But here's my question before that though. What is, like, you know, talk to me about, you know, like, love and music, but also about like how you see music going into what you want to create for yourself. I know you have a note this out. You can read that off if you want to. But read that and just tell me about what that says and like how you want to be able to convey your music going forward.
Yeah. So, with the aspect of love in music, I don't know. I mean, again, there's so many songs about love, like so many. But it depends on what aspect of love we're talking about here. I find like when people say the word love in a song or anything creative, they're usually referring to the idea of your partner, you know, your significant other or whatever. Mm-hmm. But for me, and what I would prefer, if I was to ever make a song about love, it would just be simply about literally that word love, you know, like not my idea of being in love with someone, but rather just the love in a relationship. And I don't mean relationship as in dating. I mean a relationship with whatever, friendship, your relationship with your parents, your relationship with yourself. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, definitely. And of course, yeah, an element of the, you know,
romantic
but
relationship, yeah.
I don't know, with what were you saying? You were saying something about music before. I was just going to add, like, for an expression, right? Like you said, music is a bit of it is an expression. But I remember I watched this this interview that had, speaking of Fela Kuti was, I don't remember the exact quote for quote, so I'll just kind of say what he was saying, where music is more than it's so much more than you're just playing a song, you know, like.
You can read that.
So art in general. This is art in general as well as music, but obviously, yeah. Art in general is a captured moment of the current time, and it speaks to the people at large, addressing either the development or the underdevelopment of their environment, political conflicts, and spirituality. So songs that try to convey a message, try to speak to society, I suppose. Again, depends on the country, depends on the culture of the country, everything, you know. Like the best music, probably, typically, again, massive assumption right here. This is a complete uneducated guess, but probably the best, like, or most meaningful music, or the ones that convey strong messages, is when that country or that place is going through a war or a civil war or a tough time in general, you know, when there's things to be angry about or things to be concerned about, or there's a problem, as I said, development or underdevelopment of your everything, of your environment, of your political, your spirituality, whatever it is you want that message to be about, you know. Like, for example, I suppose if I was to just think off the top of my head, if someone was to make a message right now in England, I guess, you know, write a song about how shit the housing crisis is, pretty bad right now, you know. But
about that.
yo.
Right about that. Keep going.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think now. You alright, guys?
Yeah. How shit the housing crisis. Okay, but okay. Before that, then, talk to me about how do you relate to your own journey now? By the way, we've got guests now. That's why we had to like have a little break, because we've got people watching us now. So this is cool. We've got a live audience. But alright, Kieran. We'll see. We'll see when your podcast comes. I'm gonna bring my whole family to watch us. But anyway, okay, cool. But okay, so you just read that. You read that quote, and I think that's an amazing quote by Fela Kuti. I completely agree. I think that aspect of that.
For word by word, by the way. If you want to know what he says, please watch the interview. I don't remember the name of the interview.
So how are they gonna watch the interview? They don't know what the name of the interview is. Just go find it, bro. Go do your homework. Go do your homework. I think like I think there's an aspect of like definitely an aspect of sorry, we're just having apologies. Okay, so I think so how do you, with the way you just read now, relate to yourself? How do you relate to just like your way of like making music yourself? You know, how do you kind of express it yourself? And just to build off that, I know I wanted you to show me how you would start, you know, just how you would practice, how you would, you know, sit down with your guitar and just get into the groove of how you would begin to create something.
How would I begin?
How you begin? You can speak or you can just show me. I want you to show me also.
All right.
Show me also. How do you relate that quote to your own way of self-expression?
So, well, one thing I definitely want to achieve with music, right, is I don't approach it like it's going to be a career. I approach it more like it's more of a need. It's more of a, I just really like it. Like, I'm genuinely happy if nothing ever comes from music, as long as I have the time to play it and I can just be as creative as I like to be. And I want to make songs. I do want to finish songs too. I want to be able to edit them, whether they'll be edited professionally or whatever. I don't really give a shit. You know, as long as I've made a song that I'm satisfied with how much I've expressed, right? Like, if there's something I want to say for whatever reason to get off my chest or whatever, I want to be in a position where I know how to articulate my words. And that's something that I don't think I've started properly yet. You know, right now I'm exploring with guitar. I've probably been teaching myself for, let's say, a year, probably a little bit over now. And yeah, I'm exploring, just mastering my craft at the minute is kind of where I am. I'm just enjoying playing guitar. But one thing I'm definitely going to start doing is getting into the idea of writing lyrics to actually really articulate what I want to express, because I think, I can express a lot of, as I said, Fela Kuti is an example of that. Without even saying a word, he's expressed himself. He's expressed an entire fucking band, you know. He's using there's a lot of instruments in a lot of his songs. And that's also another thing that I probably won't get to a level of where I'm performing with a whole brass band or something. I don't think I'm ever. Maybe. Not the goal. Yeah, but that's not the goal because that's not what's important.
Yeah. But show me how you would start. So obviously I don't know anything about music. Show me how you would start.
How would I start?
How would you start? Like, you say you're just like...
You're putting me on the spot.
I am putting you on the spot, bro. You're the musician, bro. This is the musician episode. They want some fucking music.
Play Lukenbach, Texas.
I can't fucking play Lukenbach, Texas,
sing the opening.
But yeah, okay.
Sing the opening. You know the first 2 lines? Yes. The first 2 lines.
I'm not a Southern American, okay? I can't put on that accent.
So talk me through your thought process.
I'll butcher it.
Talk me through your thought process. So you pick up the guitar. What are you thinking now? How are you gonna... What are you doing with your fingers and all that shit?
Oh, mate. Okay, let's choose a random chord right now. Just for the sake of being put on the fucking spot. Thank you very much.
It's not really on the spot. I told you you're gonna do this.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I don't want to do this, man. I'll choose a random fucking chord. And there's not many to choose from because I don't know an amazing amount of guitar.
Stop stalling. Do the fucking thing. You're making me swear. Shit. And so what's the thinking behind this now? It's like repetition of like key chords, try to build momentum or what?
I was trying to just do anything finger picking there, and I thought the easiest thing would be just go up the guitar right now, right? Like I'm gonna have a terrible time explaining this, by the way, because as I said, I'm teaching myself here. I don't have a structured learning process here. It's kind of just I approach whatever I feel like approaching, you know, because I don't have a teacher. I just go for it.
How did you start teaching yourself? Like, what did you like start with?
I started very painful process. Like, what most people will probably know is like this basic chord, right? C major, right? I just make sure I'm comfortable pressing down on it. I'm capable of every string, like not being muted. Like if my finger was just a little bit too much on one string right now, like look what happens.
It's a bit, it's not.
You mute it. I got to a stage where I could very comfortably, you know, just transition between the different chords and be able to press them properly was step one. Like, I'd say it was kind of a bit boring at the start, but I don't know what it was that just drove me to really want.
And it's just repetition at the beginning, just trying to do that all the time.
I think what got me really into music is just literally just listening to music. Yeah. Like just spending time, because as I said, I still do to this day where sometimes I will actually spend hours. Genuinely, I'm not doing anything else but really listening to what I'm like. It's a whole thing to just like hear a song and vibe to it. Yeah. But to like take the time to really listen and try and think about what's being said here. Yeah. To think about why do I like what's being played? Even outside of lyrics. Like, for example, I decided to learn guitar. Why? Because I tend to just really like songs that have guitar in it. As I said, Minutemen is a big thing. I love the intelligent writing behind it. Don McLean, he's very much an acoustic singer-songwriter guy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Fela Kuti, you know, he's got fucking loads of instruments, bro. Yeah, he's a genius guy. But
that's how you start.
There's loads of other names as well that I'm like missing. I have a tattoo of fucking MF Doom on me. I haven't even mentioned MF Doom.
The villain. Yeah. Let's not even get into that. That's for the next one.
Another thing as well, like. I've got like many. I still really like all of these artists, but I'm not. The last time I listened to MF Doom, quite a while ago now, to be honest, and that's not because I dislike him now. It's just literally like, it kind of comes and goes in waves for me now with music, because I've listened to so many different genres. Some phases where I just really want to listen to a certain genre. Like for a while, I was really into hip hop. Probably about when I was 16. I was so obsessed with like older hip hop. Gang Starr were a massive thing for me. I fucking loved Gang Starr. But MF Doom, again, he was at the time, to me, the most intelligent writer that I could think of.
100%.
You know, because it's just his lyrics were so fucking genius. The way he fucking did it. It was so big. It was so crazy to me.
Let me bring it to a close then, because I think I 100% agree with what you were saying about intelligent writing, and 100% agree with what you said about music being a self-expression and people can really do it well.
And the whole idea of what is intelligent writing, like, I'm sure there are plenty of people who would like to say it's objective, because I could listen to. I don't want to like name names because I don't want to encourage hating.
They're not gonna see this.
Okay, I don't want to encourage just like, but like, if I was to think of a song that I just don't think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking more in terms of a song here. Like a song that just I don't think is that well thought out as far as like wanting to portray a message, specifically that aspect. Really good song. I actually enjoy this song. Ice Spice, Boy's a Liar. Yeah, it's it's
Ice
not like
Spice.
like it's not. I don't think Ice Spice sat down for hours thinking about that verse.
But that's not okay. Okay.
But at the same time, she really executed what was supposed to happen.
Okay, and not sorry to interrupt, but you're saying that's not the type of music that you want to convey, right?
For me personally, I don't necessarily. I'm sure there's plenty of times where, like, say for example, if I was to make this album and I wanted a certain amount of songs, at some point, everyone's human. Like, at some point, you're gonna kind of run out of ideas or things to say.
Yeah.
And at those moments, if there's still for example, someone with a career in music, you still have pressure to put out music because you have to.
Could you could you show us what type of music contrasts in that? Because you're right, I Spice and all that type of music, like you're right, like there is an aspect of like making product, like we spoke about before, and we don't want to do that. We don't want to make product.
That's part of the reason why I'm more than happy. I'm very content.
Go on,
with
show us
forever being
what type of music that you think that you want to make, because that's what the question was about before.
Usually in about something called drop D tuning, so it's typically more along the edgier, mopier, grungy.
So alright, cool.
Grungy.
So show us like what kind of music that you want. Like we've talked about your creative process and all of that, and the ideas behind it. But in practice, what does it sound like for you, for the kind of music you're trying to create? So just go off whatever you've been thinking about working on, and even just practice, like, and I just want to be able to just give the audience a glimpse into what it's like. You can kind of talk us through what you're thinking as you're doing, or what you're not thinking, and just give us like a little 30-second demonstration, if you don't mind.
Well, first let me detune my guitar. You might want to cut this bit out because it'll take me a couple minutes.
Just go.
Okay. Well, first of all, I typically like songs that are in drop D tuning. I don't know why, I just really do. Drop D tuning. I hope this is right. Apologies to anyone who actually knows what drop D tuning is.
Okay,
right?
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to continue from here. So I like punk songs. Punk, typically speaking, will have something called power chords in.
Okay.
Right? That kind of thing is typically in punk, right?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So if I was thinking of a style of music, a band called Duster, here's typically what a chord you'd hear from them. That sounds quite dustery to me. Anyone who knows Duster would kind of... I'm not going to play the answer out right now.
Go on.
But what is it that you want
just
to
play
do?
Whatever you want, man. Like whatever you play. I want. This segment is about your creative process.
Yeah. So here's like a thing that I recorded the other day. It's just simply an idea. It's just a little demo for something. Don't know where I'm going to take it, but it's a beginning, right? I've played it wrong already.
Ignore all of us. None of us are here.
And then just repeat. But bear in mind that, like, someone with, again, because this is a guitar journey that I've just begun, and just specifically with this instrument.
Like 1,000 times.
I've said it 1,000 times, and I'm going to continue to say it. But I don't know. Just I
understand. Yeah,
my creative process is probably going to change so much. It's probably going to keep adapting. It's going to keep
refining.
As long as I keep being creative, that's all that matters, right? Which is why when I'm playing guitar, what probably has kept me playing guitar for so long is the fact that I'm not actually really learning songs. That might be a flaw. You know, that might be a halt to my productivity. But as far as me wanting to continue playing the guitar, I make sure that I just do something creative, and I will just sit there playing wrong things, playing wrong notes, and I will play it until it sounds good to me. You know, like that, for example. It just came from me just fiddling with the guitar. You know, literally sitting there with no objective, not even the idea of wanting to create something. And then all of a sudden, I've created something just because it sounds nice.
That's fascinating. It's so weird because, like, I know there's writers in the room. That could never be the case for a writer.
Plays one, but like, again, if I actually knew a lot more about guitar, that's probably where I'd probably be saying more than what I'm saying now. You know, where I'd know what's like. There's, for example, if I knew about music theory, there's something called music circle of fifths. If I really understand that, I think that will really help me. After I've got an idea like this, for example, I would know what is in that scale, for example. Absolutely. This is getting a bit technical here, so I'm not going to go too much into this, but I would know about the scale of what I'm playing, so I'd know what might sound, which I just know a direction
to go in,
right?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm still at a level where I could create something, but as far as the direction goes, I've got to completely guess. I'm not going to know exactly where to bring it, but eventually it will just happen, which I think probably is actually a good thing, you know? That might be something that I would want to keep.
Bro, and that's that's the goal, and that's the goal, and that's why I wanted to interview you now at this stage of your progression, because it'll be interesting to see you now in a year's time from now or 2 years time from now, how you're going to progress and which direction you're heading in. All the things you've said on this podcast about just your ideas for like music, where you're going to take that, and if you're going to actually fulfill that, because that'll be interesting to see how you grow and the experiences that you have and how that influences your creative process. All right. So to bring this to a close, because there's guests, there's time, all of these aspects that go on in it. I always like to end this by asking people about what they think the meaning of life is. Or like, you know, you spoke a lot about creativity, you spoke a lot about music, you spoke about skating and all these different passions that you have. How does that influence, or does it even influence what you think about life? And what do you think is the meaning of this whole thing? Why are we here for you?
Would absolutely say for sure, with me listening to music, that definitely has a factor for sure about my philosophy and spirituality, because I guess it's just, in a way, I'm getting a bunch of different opinions, you know, about what they might think about different things, whether it's a song about life, whether it's a song about human emotion, basically human experience, that kind of probably subconsciously all gets gathered in my own head and forms the reason why I think the way I think. But as for the meaning of life, massive question.
Easy question, you know?
I wouldn't describe it as an easy question. It's a good question.
Tuesday night.
Yeah, for a fucking Tuesday night. Fuck it up. I would say, as a general rule for everyone, the meaning of life would definitely, me personally, I would advise everyone to make sure that they experience themselves. And I mean that quite broadly, in the sense of like, really come to an understanding, because again, like, no one, in a way, when you reach your deathbed, it is you on the deathbed. 100%. It's not you and your family. It's no one. It's literally you and your thoughts and your head. So if you are going to experience anything in life, it would be to really make sure you understand who you are, what you want to do, and why you want. Having a good understanding of why you do what you do is important. To constantly evaluate and question, why do I do this? Even if you know why, even if you really enjoy it, still ask a question. Constantly, every day, ask, why do you do it? Why am I still doing it?
So ask for you then.
So having a good understanding of why you do things and who you are.
Do you have an understanding of why you get up and you play music in your free time, and any of these things you do you understand why you do them?
Well, I mean, obviously, to put it shortly, it would be because I just really enjoy these things. You know, like music feels like a calling, I guess. You know, but to put it cringy, I would say it's kind of more of a calling. I don't give a again, as I said, it doesn't have to be a career for me. I don't care if I get nothing from it, even if it's slightly destructive to my life, and it gets in the way of things. I'm gonna let it do it. I'm gonna let it do that because I fucking love it. Like, you know, like I really like it. You know, like it's something that I feel like I have to do. I mean, that might sound negative when I say that, because again, as I said, I did it as for an education for a bit, and sometimes when my creativity is forced to do things I don't want to do, where it's a bit more career-like, that's when I was just like, you know what? At this point, it doesn't feel that creative. It feels more like I just have to dress an idea up, however good or bad it is. If it fits the assignment, I just have to dress it up. But for me, and my personal experience with music, is that I want to be able to express myself and be proud of how I've articulated what I wanted to express at that moment. So that's beautiful. I think kind of forgot where I was going, but
no, that's good. You answered the question about the meaning of life, and you brought back to music, and I think that's the truth. For you,
because it's my idea of expressing myself and my thoughts. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thank you, bro. That's amazing.
I think that question can continue.
100%.
You can't actually stop answering that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's such a...
No, I mean, it's an open question too. It's a question that you kind of find out as you go older and throughout your life. I think Bukowski has this great quote, and he goes, "Find what you love and let it kill you." And it's like, that's exactly the understanding that I have with that, about passions. To find what you really love in life and just let it destroy you, in terms of like, just letting you take over your life. And especially when it comes about like self-destruction, like, yeah, okay, cool, we have self-destructive tendencies, but stuff like music or stuff like writing, they have a tendency to revive us, because in the long term, they're where we find our home and where we kind of find our base again, where we keep coming back to. Exactly. So I guess definitely, like, I think to leave it off and to leave these people with a kind of like a one sentence kind of action plan, what would you say to them about finding their passion, or like how to, you know, deal with their passions, something that you've learned, you know, just a quick message for them in terms of like going away to take from basically everything we've kind of said today, kind of summarize it for you?
I would say avoid at all costs having a closed mind. Like, just really try and like question all of your motives, constantly question your motives, and I think that will keep your head clear as to what you want to say or what you want to achieve as far as your passion goes, whatever that passion is. 100%. I guess that's
a very good way to finish it, and actually a great way to finish it.
I hope I can look back on this now and be like, yeah, I said the right
thing. But you did, bro. It's fine. And 100%. Keep an open mind, chase your passions, never give up on your dreams, you know, all that good shit, guys, all that good shit. So thank you so much again, bro. Love you for doing this. Thank you, and I'll see you all. Thank you to guests that are here, and I'll see you all in a bit. Peace.
In a bit.